Hey everyone, I got a great show for you today. I have someone with me, Grant Warrington, who's taken the leap and got his first investment property, and it's an apartment. So I reached out to him, and he's been gracious enough to give us some of his time. Welcome to the show, Grant. How are you?
Thanks. I'm doing great, Zuber. I appreciate you having me. I've been listening to a lot of your content over the last about week and a half, and I'm just happy to be a small part of it. So thanks for having me.
I really appreciate that. You have perhaps one of the most interesting stories that people are talking about today. I hear a lot of people, and I call it the Grant Cardone syndrome, uh, that your first investment needs to be an apartment. So let's talk about your investment. And now, obviously, you come to the table with so much more experience being a property manager and managing 730 some odd units. So you're in a special spot. But I when I saw your story, I'm like, wow, I got to talk to that guy because, and really break down how you found it, you looked at it, you secured it, what's next. So why don't you just give us the lay of the land of the deal? Maybe tell us how you found it and what part of the country you're in.
Okay, great. Sounds good, Zuber. It's in the Detroit area, south of Detroit. It's actually in Trenton. That's where I was born and raised. So I know the market very well. I know the area. It's a 20-unit apartment building. We got it for $625,000. We bought it on a land contract, which is seller financing. So we got some pretty good terms there. The interesting story, how I found it, we started one rental at a time, basically. And in one of our rentals, it wasn't our best deal. To this day, we kind of look back on it, and we got out of it, which was great. But it was a learning experience. We learned a lot. But I happened to mention to the inspector, we're looking for apartment buildings going forward, and he said, well, there's this woman I know. Why don't you give her a call? She owns a lot of property. And I did. And she turned me on to another gentleman who might be selling. And I happen to actually know the guy somewhat. And we contacted. It took about 11 months to come to terms. We actually walked away from the deal at one point. But we came back. We got it done. It took 9 months to close. He was a lot to work with. He was, it's a mom and pop, and he wasn't very proactive in doing some things. My wife actually, the building was lost for taxes, and my wife actually found it when they ran a title search. They gave her back the title. Monica Warrington is her name, and she's 150% in this with me. So I don't want everyone to think it's just me, because my wife she's actually out there right now at the building.
Awesome.
So she found it in a title search that, hey, he's going to lose the building. He has 10 days
wow.
to make a $50,000 payment, or it's gone. It already went to court. So we were all pretty fortunate. Him, the seller, as well as myself, my wife and I, and he paid it, and then we had to go to court to clear title. There was the mortgage he had on it, second mortgage. The company went out of business. He never got to release a lien. So it took 9 months. It was it was pretty frustrating at times. There's some times where her and I sat on the floor in front of the couch and held hands and just prayed. Hey, let this work out whatever way it's supposed to. We accept it, but just let it work out. Thankfully it did. I think it was something that was great for the seller and great for us as well. It's a pretty big value add, so we're excited about it.
There's so much there to unpack. I want to make sure we do that. So first and foremost, how you found it, right? I say this all the time, that real estate investing is a people business. You probably heard it on some of my videos. This is just another example. You were open. You shared with the world what you were doing and what you were looking for, and it responded, right? Now, it very rarely responds with, hey, go call Susan. Susan will sell you something. That's not how it works, people. It's, hey, you know someone, and then someone knows someone, and then someone knows someone. And if you stay on it and you're in it and you're committed and you're a nice person, stuff works out. And this is just another example of that. So kudos to you and Monica.
Thank you.
That. Then the other thing, big deals like this can be messy or frustrating, right? Single
Correct.
family homes, usually a lot cleaner, right? One person
Correct.
involved, simple title search, one bank usually. Commercial buildings, you can get partnerships, you can get JVs, you can get messy titles with multiple LLCs. They are messy, right? And especially if they've been owned by someone for a long time. So, don't come to the apartment game, especially a value add apartment game, and expecting it to be as easy as buying a condo. It's not going to be.
That's correct.
It's just not. But if you stay committed and together, and I loved what you said about being in it 150%. I think a lot of people miss that. I talk to too many people that are like so gung ho, and they're in it and they're hyper committed. And I'm like, well, where's your significant other, husband or wife, or however that works out? And they're like, oh, they're home. Oh, they're at soccer practice. I'm like, are they in it? Oh yeah, they give me the green light. And I'm like, oh, your real estate investing is going to test you, right? It's
correct.
Whether you sit on the floor and you pray and you sort of ask for guidance and, do it, help me with this, or it's like my first deal with the house where they got divorced and the gentleman needed to be evicted and decided to do damage. It's going to test you. And if they're not in it together, they're going to come to you and go, see, honey, I told you it was a scam. I told you it was a bad investment. What are you doing? You're wasting our money. Stop it. Go back to the stock market or whatever. And, go have those conversations, sit on a couch, sit on the floor, whatever you want to do, but make sure both parties are equally committed, or don't start, frankly.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And it's there, we run a business together. I mean, as well as, our family, and it's a great thing. We're constantly sharing, growing together. I got some down days and she'll have some great up days, and we balance each other out. I'm a lot more emotional and, than she is. She's pretty level headed. She's our CFO, and, she keeps me, brings me back down here, here and there when she needs to. But I'm a lot more emotionally driven. So,
well, I hope she watches this, because you're giving her a lot of shout outs and kudos. So nice job, Monica. Nice job, Monica. You're the rock that he stands on, or the rock of this. So nice job. So the other thing that's kind of interesting is this is identified as a value add opportunity, correct?
Correct.
So why don't we just discuss what that is? I know what that means, but why don't we highlight what that means for the audience?
Well, that means basically, there's value we can add to the property by doing some things. We can increase the income by raising the rents, or we can lower the expenses. And that the main goal is to bring up the NOI, right?
Yep.
And basically, simply, that's the two things you want to look for is ways to increase income and ways to lower expenses. I think that's probably about the simplest way I could do it. Our average rents are around $500. Conservatively, we think we can push them to about $650.
Wow! So $150 times 20 is $3,000, right? Roughly, yeah. 3,000.
Yeah, so $360,000 a year at a conservative 10 cap.
At a 10 cap, that's wow. So that's another that's easy math, right? That's another 300,000, or right?
Yep, 360,000. So and that's a conservative 10 cap, and in this market, I like to be conservative, right? I like to say 10 cap, but if you can buy something in this city at a 10 cap, you're doing really well.
Yeah, so. Especially performing and full and doesn't have all that stuff. So this is this is really cool. And the other thing is you got owner financing, or at least you worked out terms. That's another thing that's very common. Of the small multis that I did, more than half started with owner financing of some sort, either the first or some took seconds. So it's very common. The other thing I thought we would talk about is, for your day job, right? You run a property management company. Is that correct? Yeah,
I'm the director of operations for a property management company. I don't own it. That's a pretty interesting story how I got there too. So I was in construction, a crane operator for 20 3 years, then I started working for the local as a representative. And, long story short, one day, kind of just a difference of opinions at one point with my boss. It just happens, right, in any job. And, my mentor, who actually owns the property management company, Josh Sterling, who's, if you Google him, he's a pretty big deal himself. So I'm pretty fortunate to be around him every day. But, as I'm sitting there and contemplating, oh boy, what am I going to do? My boss is showing up. I'm just having a miserable day. All of a sudden, Josh sent me a text, and it was a picture of a check for $640,000. And it just said, my biggest check to date. Yeah. And right then I said, I need to move. I need to do something different. This is not where I need to be. And that's when I knew this isn't for me. I'm moving on. And then the opportunity opened up for me to, be the director of operations for his company. And I said, I'm there, and I made the move.
That's very cool. So why don't we get a feel for the timeline for this product? You just closed it last couple of weeks. Value add means time. Are you looking at a 12, 18-month timeline, 6 months? Do you have any gut feel for what it's going to take?
So our terms are 30 months, 5%, a 30-year AM too.
Okay.
So we're looking pretty good. I'm going to say around 18 months is what we're looking to do it in. We're looking probably 6 months to stabilize. We closed, last week. We already got 2 units painted. It's just about 2 already. They're going to need some windows, but we already got a new roof on, new gutters.
Oh, wow.
We're moving pretty quick to get those things. There was 5 vacancies, more than we had expected. But we're moving quick to get those things occupied. And I think about 6 months will be pretty stabilized. So probably give us a year, 12 more months to show some stabilization after that. So I think we're on track. I think 18 would be a fair assumption of.
My experience says when you're picking up a building like this from, I've bought buildings from owners like that before. New sheriff in town, right? New owners, new rules, new guidelines, all of that. You're going to lose half the tenants because either A, they're not to your quality, or B, they don't want to pay the higher rent, which is probably okay, right? Because you already need to go in and do all these modifications and value add. So net, it's probably a good thing for you. But yeah, just expect that, right? An apartment owner to an apartment owner. I'm sure you are, but I just thought I'd share that with you.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah. So, you fast forward, let's look ahead a little bit. So this one's seasoned, let's call it 18 months, maybe it's 2 years. You go refi that gentleman out at some point, put on real commercial financing. Then you're going to be looking to get your next one, or do you look to get your next one while you work on this one, or how's the kind of timing for your next one?
Well, the next one we're really looking to syndicate. We're looking to go bigger. We got some options. Either we're going to manage ourselves. My wife and I had, put people in place on the on-site management. So it'd have to be 100 units or bigger.
Yep.
Depends on the area. If it makes sense, if it's real local, then that's probably something we're going to do, because nobody's going to manage a building like I can, because I own it. And I'm in the parking lot picking up papers. I'm looking at snags in the carpet on the stairs. You know what I mean? I'm evaluating people that are walking in and out of the door, because I'm an owner. I think that really translates into my day job too, that I do look at those buildings in the same manner. So back to that, we're looking to syndicate. We're looking to do something on a larger scale. So I'm actively looking, networking, just trying to get out there. And I really feel if I can add a lot of value to people, I think it's a great thing. And that's kind of what I'm looking to do. I'm looking to partner with some past investors and really make some things happen.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things for you. First, being in Detroit or in Michigan, you're in a part of the country that is going to see net, increase in population. You're already seeing stabilization from where you came out of the Great Recession. That's also a place where there's a lot of investors from the coasts looking to invest. So establishing a track record with this 20-unit building to really show what you're doing with your own capital, right? Your name's on the line. I think it's going to lead to really lead to the possibility of doing some syndication. So we're going to keep going, but I just want to let you know that the free version of Zoom looks like it's going to time out on me in 2 minutes and 40 seconds. And I don't know what happens, but we're going to keep talking and see what happens. And if it closes, I'll just call you back.
Sounds great. Okay.
So we'll keep going. So moving to syndication seems like the right idea. I would tell you to create a brag book, and that starts today. Take pictures of what you got, right? And just start building that. Because when you go out to look to secure dollars from accredited investors, they're going to want to see the whole evolution of this 20-unit building. So don't forget to take pictures of the ugly status. I've seen those brag books be very, very successful. So just a heads up.
Thank you.
Of course. So, when you go to syndication, you're going to go bigger, on-site 100 units, totally get it. Do you get to a point where you and Monica go off and do your own thing? Do you become sort of a little cog in, I forget, was it Jeffrey's business? Your mentor? Josh's business. I'm trying to look out 3 to 5 years for you. What does that kind of look like, and how big do you want to go?
This is something we want to do, forever, really. I mean, this is something I can see myself doing, as my full-time job. I got into the business with Josh, he's 35. He quit his job 4 years ago.
Wow.
So I've been following in those footsteps. I'm trying to add as much value to him for as long as I'm here.
Yeah.
And we're at 26 units now. So, that doesn't mean you're quitting your job anytime soon. So I'll be here for a little bit longer, which is great for me. I learn every day. I was just part of that Josh put together 144 unit syndication. So I get the opportunity to sit next to him, pick his brain through that whole process. I do these apartment walks with him. I'm really fortunate to be involved in all aspects of this process.
Yeah. Being with someone like Josh, you shouldn't run away from that. That's a goal.
No.
And relationships you're going to want to have probably forever, right? As long as you're
correct.
So that
as long as he'll have me.
Exactly. And you should think about it that way. I see too many people that try to treat this as a scarcity mindset where it's like, hey, it's winners and losers. That's not how you should look at this. This is, I told you earlier, it's a relationship business. And that is also for the team around you when you're in the work. So